It's your fault my husband disappeared, isn't it? You hardly ever cooked, and I heard you were pretty rude to him. He might be dead by now, all because you pushed him too far. To say such a thing. My husband suddenly disappeared less than a year after we got married. His friends and colleagues blame me, but I don't recall doing anything wrong. What's happening? I have a younger sister who is 8 years younger than me. Our parents have always cared only for my younger sister, as she's outgoing and clever. I wish I could have some of your meatloaf too. But you've already eaten yours, right? I won't have any left if you take mine. Your sister wants it, give it to her. But you're the older sister, you should be patient. Gah. Yay. She always wanted everything I had, whether it was food or everyday items. She would constantly ask for them. I want your scarf. I use it for school, and you have your own, don't you? I want that cute one. You're being mean. Don't be mean. Just let her have it. I'm not being mean. Yay, I want these gloves too. They're too big for you. No. I want them. One size fits all, so she can use it too. Just give it to her. What? You're the older sister, so you should be nice to your younger sister. My parents, ignoring my feelings, always indulged her whims. I was constantly forced to endure because I was the older sister. Thus, my things continued to be taken by her as she pleased. Living with such a family was too hard. When I started college, I moved out and lived alone, working part-time to pay for tuition. Balancing work and studies was tough, but I was freed from the stress of family life and enjoyed my new life. After graduating college, my efforts paid off, and I successfully found a job. I had a boyfriend, and both my professional and personal lives were fulfilling. Then, a few years into my job, my boyfriend of 2 years proposed. I think it's about time we seriously consider it. Marry me. Let's build a happy family together. Yay. I was happy about the proposal but hesitated to respond. Since starting college, I hadn't been in touch with my family. With marriage comes the need for family interactions. What's wrong? Don't you want to get married? No, it's not that. I'm just wondering about contacting my family. Do I have to invite them to the wedding? It's frustrating to still feel bound by my family, even though I'm away from them. Sensing my distress, my boyfriend, who knew about my family's situation, reassured me. You don't have to worry about that. There's no need to feel pressure about contacting them. A family that can't cherish you doesn't need to be invited to the wedding. Yeah, thank you. His kind words made me decide to marry him. I chose not to visit my parents to announce the engagement and only got together with his parents. However, when we went to meet his parents, that's great, marrying such a good person. How wonderful, how wonderful. His father was delighted, but his mother looked stern. Not getting along with your own family, and now becoming part of our family. I can't decide if it's right when I've only heard one side of the story. I'm against this marriage. Mom. Yes. I'm sorry. I was rejected by his mother. I understood her point of view and wanted his parents to agree to our marriage. I resolved to visit my family with my boyfriend. When we visited, they didn't let us in the house, treating us coldly as expected. Talking about marriage now, after coming back home out of the blue. You left on your own, so do as you please. We have no intention of attending the wedding. To do such a thing. My parents dismissed us coldly at the doorstep. Getting married to my sister, you have unique tastes, My sister, now a sophomore in college, still lived at home, laughing at our troubled faces from behind our parents. It doesn't matter even if you don't attend the wedding, but could you at least just meet my parents? Why should we bother meeting them? Just do as you please. Despite my boyfriend's persistence, my parents bluntly refused. Emilia, don't tell me you can't get married unless we agree to meet his parents. Too bad. Since you've got a bad personality and his parents don't like you, it can't be helped, right? Guess you'll never get married, pooh you, She taunted, relishing in my misfortune. I expected this, but it was clear that having a normal relationship with such a family was impossible. Realizing further discussion was futile, my boyfriend and I reluctantly withdrew. The next day, we reported to his parents about the outcome of meeting my family. I'm sorry, but my parents said they have no intention of coming over for introductions or the wedding. They were colder than I had imagined and didn't even want to have a proper conversation. Well, can't be helped then. Don't worry about it too much. Yes, I've been with her long enough to know her character, and I trust her. So, Mom, please approve of our marriage. I personally am against it, but it's your decision to make. Then, we're going to get married. Do as you wish. Thank you. His mother seemed cold, but I guess she at least consented to our marriage. I had hoped she would fully accept me. And so, I married my boyfriend. I became a homemaker, and we started our new life together in our new home. Together with my husband, we often visited his parents' house, hoping to get to know them better. Hello, we're back. Welcome home. You both look well, that's good to see. I'll go prepare dinner. I can help. You'll get your nice clothes dirty. Though, huh? My Mill still had a cold attitude and a stern expression. I wondered if it was really difficult to become closer with her. There's an apron over there, use that. Yes, thank you. However, as I spent more time with her, I realized she didn't make unreasonable remarks or show nastiness. If I was proper and sincere, she would surely come to accept me. I was determined to earn her approval and worked hard with all my heart. But then, unbelievably, my husband disappeared. Less than a year into our marriage, he was suddenly gone. Inquiries at his workplace revealed he had already quit, and he couldn't be found even after reporting to the police. He left a note. I can't endure life with you anymore. You always berate me, the meals aren't decent, and you get hysterical because my earnings are low, scratching and kicking me. It's unbearable. Please don't look for me. What was he talking about? I never berated him or cooked poorly. I never complained about his earnings, nor had I been violent. The note was filled with things totally contrary to the truth, and I was baffled. In trying to find my husband's whereabouts, I asked his colleagues and friends, but they all looked at me with disdain. It's your fault he's gone. You apparently didn't cook properly and had a terrible attitude. He was breaking down mentally because you were verbally and physically abusive to him. No wonder he wanted to escape. You're the bad one here, truly despicable. He might have even taken his own life because you pushed him to the edge. It seems my husband had been telling his colleagues and friends that he was being horribly mistreated by me at home. I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm just trying to find him. Even if we knew, we wouldn't tell you. I was being treated like the villain. No one was willing to help me. Instead, everyone was blaming me. Why am I being blamed? I don't recall doing anything wrong, but could I have unknowingly pushed my husband to his limits? Did he take his life because of me? My mind was in turmoil, unable to make sound judgments, and I didn't know what to do. I felt mentally cornered, not even considering options like tracking the family registry or hiring a private investigator. In all this, only my in-laws believed and cared for me. I'm sorry, maybe he disappeared because of me. I'm so sorry. There's no need to blame yourself like that. You don't need to worry about it. Father, Mother, your hard work and sincerity are real, not just superficial. We know you're a genuine person. Thank you. My Mill, through our sincere interactions, had come to acknowledge me. And then, if you're in trouble, why don't you live here with us? Really? Can I? Of course. Don't feel hesitant about it. If you're okay with it, we have no problem here. I can't believe you're willing to do this for me. Thank you so much. Paying rent alone was becoming difficult, and with no one else to rely on, I felt lost. My in-laws offered to let me stay at their home, a gesture that moved me deeply. I appreciated the gesture deeply and tearfully thanked them. I truly couldn't thank my in-laws enough. 20 years later, my Phil, who had aged significantly, passed away. Oh, you. Why? There was so much more I wanted to do to repay your kindness. He was a gentle and positive man, a bit absent-minded. From the first time I met him, he accepted me warmly and was always cheerful and amiable. Memories with him flooded my mind, bringing tears to my eyes. A few days after his passing, as we were still mourning, relatives gathered at our house to discuss the funeral. Suddenly, my long-lost husband appeared. It's been a while. We were all shocked by his nonchalant return, as if nothing had happened. Where have you been all this time? Actually, I've been with your sister. We've become a family. What? It turned out that 20 years ago, my sister had secretly been in contact with my husband. They had an affair. She became pregnant with his child. He left under the guise of being driven away by me. My husband had been living with my sister and their child all this time. My sister always wanted everything I had, but I never thought she would go as far as to want my husband. My parents knew about this but stayed silent out of favoritism towards my sister, even helping my husband in his disappearance. They kept tabs on me and informed my husband and sister about my FIL's death. Thanks for taking care of my parents. We've decided to come back and live as a family in the family home, so you can go and do as you please now. What? So, you don't need to take care of my parents anymore. Feel free to leave the house and live your life. What? Leave this house? Suddenly returning and telling me he's been a family with my sister all this time. I'd been treated coldly by many, thinking I drove my husband to despair. I've always felt guilty, wondering if I unknowingly pushed him to his limits or if he had died. And now, to find out it was all a lie, and for him to be with my sister and their child happily. I was dumbfounded, and then, how dare you? Coming back now with your mistress, the nerve of you. My mill scolded my husband fiercely. No. We have legally adopted Amelia. She hasn't been just our son's wife but our daughter all these years. What? Yes, my in-laws have proposed adoption, and they had been serious about it. Now, my mill is legally my adoptive mother. You may have come back thinking of inheritance now that the father is dead, but after your disappearance was declared, Amelia had the marriage annulled, and you're considered deceased, so only my daughter and I have the rights to the inheritance. This can't be. My ex-husband, his scheme failing, looked panic-stricken. However, since you're alive, we must retract the adjudication of your disappearance. Then you will have inheritance rights, and we can redistribute the inheritance. Does that mean? A glimmer of hope returned to my ex-husband's face, but my mill was relentless. That doesn't mean you get any money. After all the trouble you caused Amelia, coming back just for the money, there's no way I'm letting such a thick-skinned scumbag benefit. To apologize for raising such a man, the entire inheritance will go to my daughter as alimony and division of property. What? My ex-husband was utterly shocked. 20 years have passed, but we only found out about your affair now, so Amelia has the right to claim alimony for your infidelity. Considering the baseless accusations and mental anguish she suffered at the time of your disappearance, even if we redistribute the inheritance to include you, it might not be enough to cover the alimony. What? This can't be. My mill, with a mocking smile, left my ex-husband pale again. In desperation, he turned to me. I was wrong. I'll come back to you, so let's forget the divorce and the alimony. That's when a man stepped forward and intervened between my ex-husband and me. If her former family had done some investigation, then you should know by now that she's remarried. She's my wife now. This man is my current husband. I had already remarried and had a child. If the adjudication of disappearance is cancelled, I'm alive, so the annulment is invalid, and the remarriage too. Even if we cancel the adjudication of disappearance, acts done in good faith until the cancellation are not affected. If the remarriage happened without knowing the existence of the ex-husband, the new marriage takes precedence. The remarriage is valid. No. My current husband's calm words left my ex-husband staggering. I, too, was infuriated by his selfish claims. Even after all this, you think you can just flip your stance knowing you have to pay alimony. How despicable can you be? Even if the remarriage was invalid, there's no way I would ever reconcile with you. I'll make sure we get divorced, no matter what it takes. Seeing how firmly I rejected him, my ex-husband was at a loss. Let's turn back time. Forget I ever showed up. I'm as good as dead. With that, he tried to flee, but the relatives who had heard everything restrained him. Don't even think of running away. Write a promissory note right now. No. My ex-husband reluctantly wrote a promissory note agreeing to pay the alimony, naming my sister and our parents as guarantors and providing their addresses and contact information. Later, when I claimed alimony from my ex-husband and sister, they said they couldn't pay. We have debts to pay, it's difficult. Yes, we can't afford this much. We also don't have any savings because we help them financially. Paying this much is impossible. My former parents, who have been supporting my ex-husband and sister, were also financially involved. During his disappearance, my ex-husband couldn't secure stable employment and lived on day jobs and parental support, leading to debts. Neither seemed to have any savings, but that was their own doing. When I mentioned taking them to court, they immediately requested a reduction in the amount. I'll definitely pay, just reduce the amount or wait for the payment, please. We've already told you we can't pay this much, please reduce it, we're begging you. They started coming to me almost daily, begging like it was harassment. It was so irritating. When I threatened to report them to the police if they continued to hassle me, they finally agreed to pay in one lump sum. My former father used his early retirement funds for the payment, leaving them in financial hardship. Then, unbelievably, my former parents came to me for help. We can barely stay alive if it goes on like this. Please help us. Please, we're family, aren't we? My only family is my current father, mother, husband, and our child. Don't say that. Please help us. We're still your child's grandparents. If you or anyone related to you comes near me or my precious family, I won't forgive you. Don't contact me ever again, or I'll report you to the police. I warned them and cut off any interactions. They had the nerve to betray me with my sister and then ask me for help. How insensitive can they be? My ex-husband and his accomplices had to work hard to pay off debts and manage their lives. Even if their health deteriorated and they struggled, it was no longer my concern. I don't think I'll ever see such despicable people again. As for me, I'm living peaceful and happy days with my true family. Is this how I should mix the eggs? Yes, that's right, you're doing great. I'm so happy I can eat something my grandchild made. I'll make lots more for Mom and Grandma. Thank you. I'm really looking forward to it. Being able to live with a family that trusts and supports each other is truly a blessing. I'll continue to do my best for my family with all my heart.